Hello and greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Kyle Minger show. So today, ladies and gentlemen, is another Star Wars theory video, and it's kind of a off theory. I've been thinking about this for a very long time now because I've seen these Star Wars films many times throughout my years, and I practically know every freaking scene from the prequel movies to the original movies of episode 4, 5, and 6. And now since I have episode 7, I've been watching them all a lot. Well, I've only seen Force Awakens 4 times. So let me just I forgot to grab my movies. Let's do it. Give me a second. Just to let you guys know, my Force Awakens movie is actually upstairs in my brother's room, so I won't be able to get that, but I have shown you guys on it on my last video yesterday. So, I got the episodes 1, 2, and 3 right here, and the episodes of 4, 5, and 6 right here. So, I'm going to get down to the biggest theory that a lot of people on the internet are talking about it a lot, like non-stop, about Jar Jar Binks. Now, I've seen a lot of theory videos on Star Wars, and I saw the biggest theory on Jar Jar Binks by this one guy named Gongan on YouTube. Now, his theory, I'm not stealing like any of his ideas on there, but I watched it again, because I wanted to find it just to watch it again, and I did, and I might, well, take a few things off of his video, but I'm not, like, recording his video, but, some things I did notice throughout the movies I've watched, because I did watch the first couple movies like a few days ago, and I've noticed since when he talked about it, I've noticed the same thing that he's talked about on the show. And I'm not going to dig deep like he did on his video, but anyways, I just want to talk about it, because I've been actually wanting to talk about it ever since I saw his, I'm actually, just a true fact, guys, I've always wanted to talk about Jar Jar Binks way before I saw this Gungan guy's video of him talking about Jar Jar Binks. I've always wanted to talk about it, I just never got a chance to do it yet. But ever since I saw his video, I was like, Jesus fuck, he nailed down that freaking theory video, not like good on Jar Jar Binks. So I'm gonna do the same thing for you guys. So for 32, I might take very long on this video, but I don't care. It won't take long to upload on YouTube. But I want to get down to business on Jar Jar Binks. Oh, and just before I begin, tomorrow Wesley's going to be coming over. Apparently he's going to be doing a theory video on Elder Scrolls. So I don't know which game, but I think it's just probably going to be all the Elder Scrolls games. Just letting you guys know about that for tomorrow, because there's going to be another video on tomorrow. And also, I'm doing a gaming video for tomorrow on Saturday. I'll probably be doing it straight in the morning, because I didn't do it on Thursday yesterday for you guys, because I wanted to do a trailer reaction on Star Wars teaser trailer on Rogue One. So I'm sorry that I didn't do one for Minger Gaming yesterday for you guys. So I'm sorry I didn't really make it, because I was super pumped to watch Rogue One. So for further ado, guys, let's get started on talking about Jar Jar Binks. I hope you guys like the shirt. So the big Jar Jar theory. So just so you guys know, this is just a theory. We don't know if it's gonna be true or not. But the guy Gongan said in the video, it's canon or non-canon, but it's still a theory. It could be true or it could be not true. But will it be true? So let's get down to business. So let's get started all the way in episode 1 of Star Wars in The Phantom Menace. So you guys have probably noticed, for you guys watching the movie, you guys have probably noticed it's been more focusing, well, in the very beginning of the movie, it starts off, well, it starts off with the Jedi. Well, with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon going to Naboo, and well, it's actually just scrolling toward, after done the crawl, it shows Naboo, and after blah blah blah, it tells that the Jedi are coming to negotiate with the treaty with the Queen of Naboo, and although at the very beginning of the show, this has really hurt in my head a little bit. Okay, there we go. But throughout the beginning of the movie, there's a little scene when after Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon got on the Transfiguration ship, after they got in there safely without no troubles, they went through the ship into a room. That one C3P kind of a droid, because it kind of looks like a C3PO droid, guides him to the room, and after the droid leaves, after the door closes, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan remove their hoods, and Obi-Wan says this: "I have a bad feeling about this." And Qui-Gon says, "I don't feel anything." But Obi-Wan says, "It's like no, it's not here, Master. It's elsewhere." And he says this one word. He says this one word with a C. Something insinuated. But I'm gonna find that part of that video on Gongan. I'm not trying to steal everything on him, but I'm just gonna find that part on the video again for you guys. It's not gonna be hard. I know it's very weird. Just give me a second. I'm just gonna find it again. I know it's probably not far away. Where is it? Too far. Where is it here? I know it's right here somewhere. I want to get the bottom of this. Where was that line? I think it's right over here, actually. Hang on. Crap. Trying to remember what part of the video it was in. I'm trying to remember that word that Obi-Wan said at the beginning of the movie. Wait, I think it was in here. Frick. Trying to remember that word was called. I know it was, but anyways, I'm just gonna stop it from there. But anyways, he says something word saying, I feel disturbance in the Force. I feel bad feeling about this. And he says it's somewhere, it's like no, Master. It's like somewhere elsewhere. Incinerated or uncertain. Or so, it started with a C, but I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't remember exactly where that part of the video it was on here. Oh wait, here I think I found it. Wait, hang on. Hang on. I found it. Wait, I found it. Hang on. Elusive. That was the word. When he says, I have a bad feeling about this, it's like, no, Master, it's elsewhere. It feels elusive. That was the word. Elusive. So it was referring to someone or something nearby somewhere. But who he would think would that be? Jar Jar Binks. Because a lot of people on the internet third that he's a secret dark lord of the Sith. But is that true? But let's get started with more of that info. Now you guys are probably wondering why Jar Jar Binks was a big deal in the first episode, because he shows up in the camera a lot throughout the entire movie. But in episode 2 and 3, all of a sudden, he doesn't all show up throughout the entire movie. Only some parts of the movie he does show up. But in episode 1, his face was always in the camera. But why is that? So on the Gungan, on the, how do you say that YouTuber's name again? Gonigan. But anyways, that YouTuber I was referring to, he says the same thing, that Jar Jar was focused on the episode 1. Now, he says that George Lucas was referring him to be the big bad guy in episode 1. But all of a sudden, George Lucas decided to change all of that and change the script. And put a different person to replace Jar Jar Binks as the Phantom Menace. Meaning, Darth Maul was the Phantom Menace. But was Darth Maul the Phantom Menace? That's the thing. Now, there's a lot of things that George Lucas changed in episode 1. Just because, well, who would accept a lumsy, clumsy, unlucky guy, an idiot, visual idiot in the movie to be a freaking Sith of the bad guys? Yeah, I know, it's kind of weird, but why does he show up a lot on screen in the first movie? Because George Lucas wanted to keep it that way a little bit, but in secret. Now, as said, Jar Jar was, well, yeah, of course, like stupid, but he went down deep on this theory, and he went, before George Lucas created Star Wars, another guy created books based on Star Wars, way before George Lucas even created Star Wars in his Star Wars cinematic universe. Now, this guy had written books about a few, well, 2 characters that were stupid and idiotic, and they had this one certain power called magic. And this one thing that the magic was, but there's this one book called Zenith. The Adventures of, well, the Adventures of Zenith, and this guy name was Bink. Bink! Yeah, I know, but I know I'm taking more facts about him, about Gongan off of, because I'm looking at it right now, but I'm not playing it, but I know I'm kind of stealing a little bit of things from his video, but if he sees this, I'm sorry, man, but I want to get at the bottom of this theory as well, too. I know it might not be true or not, based off of the new movie of The Force Awakens, so he's fearing that, well, not fearing, but people are fearing that Snoke is Jar Jar, but where's the ears? Where's the long neck? But he has a scar across his face. I don't know if Jar Jar, well, Jar Jar could have had a scar throughout the years. But Gungan said the lifespan for Gungans is 65 years. But now with Jar Jar, people, well, he says Jar Jar has a certain way to use the Force, because apparently the Force can be used in many ways. But in that book I was mentioning about the guy that created these books about the Adventures of Zenith, this guy named Bank, with his, because apparently in that book, you can, there's an island where people that use magic are allowed to live there. People that don't have magic are banished to an island with no magic. But this guy named Bank did have magic. But nobody noticed because it was used differently. It was used for him being clumsy. And he was using it so people won't know that he does have magic. It's like a self-defense kind of power. Meaning, stuff that happens around him happens for a reason. So people won't notice that he's actually using magic. But it's the same thing with the Force, with Jar Jar. It happens with him. So notice all the scenes in Jar Jar Binks throughout episode 1. Because you guys will probably notice that he's waving his hands, he's going clumsy all around, because I know it's just a theory, but he's using the Force. The Force is helping him. Well, maybe you guys I not be saying it right, but Jar Jar is actually using the Force, but he's keeping his power unnoticed by the Jedi near Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Well, just mostly Qui-Gon, but Qui-Gon can't see it. Because he's just an idiot, clumsy Gungan from Naboo. And if you guys have noticed on Tatooine, it's a very hot planet, and Gungans are freaking water creatures. Why would he want to go with in the first place? And he even said, "Oh, the sun is causing my skin to dry," something like that. Why would he go with him in the first place? Because he wanted to go. How would I know? So basically, throughout the entire film of Jar Jar Binks of Episode 1, you've noticed that he's been, well, apparently from his city, he was banished. But was he banished? But with Gungan, what he said, that when he walked into the underwater city to go with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, I know you guys are probably wondering why, but everyone panicked. Not like, it's like, oh, there's the finished idiots. It's like, well, they didn't do that. They all backed away and panicked because Jar Jar came back. But then he acted clumsy and stupid when the guard came by. It's like, Jar Jar, you were a big doo-doo this time. But why would that guard say that, though? I don't know. Because George Lucas wanted to keep Jar Jar unnoticed by the Jedi. So, if you probably are wondering, probably Jar Jar is probably watching the Jedi using their powers. But he probably already knew how to use them before they came. Now, here's another theory kind of a thing. You know, like, Lord Palpatine is the Dark Lord of the Sith, because you guys have probably known that since you guys have watched the film. Now, you guys are probably wondering, why am I mentioning about him? Now, Gungan says that there's only one thing about the Sith, that there's only two. And two only. But with Master Yoda at the very end of the Phantom Menace, he says this line, there's two Sith. One master, one apprentice. No more, no less. So he says no more, no less first, and then a master and apprentice. And Windu says, but yeah, which one's the master? The apprentice or the master? And then it pans out to Palpatine. But before that, Jar Jar was beside Palpatine. But after he said that line with Yoda and Windu, it panned to Palpatine again, but it didn't grab Jar Jar's face beside him. He was behind the camera, right near Palpatine. That was the big twist, because that was the biggest theory. Now here's more about why Jar Jar was more focused throughout the film. Now, let's go back to the beginning again. Now, if you guys have probably noticed why Jar Jar was being more aggressive, and you guys have probably noticed that he was using special abilities, but other Gungans don't really do it. You remember when he was going to the swamp area, and he's bringing Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan with him because he was taking them to the underwater city where he lives. Now, no other Gungan can jump really high, but only Jedi's can use force jump in the sky really high. Now, if you watch Jar Jar, he gets ready and then dives in the water. No other Gungan does that. Jar Jar attempted that. How? Because he was using the Force. But he was doing it in a way that he wouldn't get noticed by the two Jedi. Another big surprise. Oh, I know. But throughout the film, he kind of still acts clumsy and stupid and acting in a way. But when it shows in the scene where he's in that water speeder with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and they were mentioning about the Force, it's like he was dissing about the Force, saying, "Oh, Master reads the Force." He was dissing it because he knew about it. Yes, I know it sounds weird because he already knew about it before the Jedi came along on Naboo. Now, here's the biggest thing. I'm just gonna take this off for now because it's hurting my head a bit. But the biggest thing, what Gungan says, it's all Jar Jar's fault, actually, throughout the prequel films. Although it is canon, but it might be not true or not true. True or not true. But Jar Jar was the cause of everything. Because he said, now, back in, well, I don't know how long ago, before Star Wars, the first Star Wars films came out, Robot Chicken made an episode on Adult Swim about Palpatine falling from the pit of death while he was thrown from Darth Vader, and then all of a sudden, blah 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 blah. Lord Palpatine calls Jar Jar, thinking, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I made you wanted to give me all the all the Senate power. If they could give me, if they could give me all the power to be give me all the power. Give me all the power and Senate, and I as one of the thank yous. He's like, oh yeah, Pouty, you're welcome. They give you all the knights and power. They predicted that. It came true. Did it come true? Yes, it came freaking true. How would they have made that episode? And then a couple years later, when episode 1 comes out, it's kind of acting the same thing. So now here's more parts and here's more evidence about Jar Jar Binks. Now, throughout the film of episode 1, I know I'm still continuing on episode 1. If you notice that, well, the Jedi have the mind trick, the force jump, and what's the other one that Gunga mentioned? I don't think that's mostly it, but I'll focus on the mind trick. Now, the mind trick is the greatest power with the Jedi. They can manipulate people and put words in their mouth and get out of situations. Look back on The New Hope when old Ben was waving his hands, not with that wave, but manipulating stormtroopers, saying, these aren't the droids we're looking for, saying, these aren't the droids we're looking for. Jar Jar does the same thing with the people around him. But he's not doing it with the Jedi because he doesn't want to get noticed. So if you guys have probably noticed that when Jar Jar started going to ship, going to Tatooine, he does the same thing. But now, here's the thing. When they're on the ship, when the lasers got hit on the shield generator, and the droids were going to fix it, Jar Jar was told by Obi-Wan to stay here and don't touch anything. Jar Jar can only use the powers on creatures and other inhabitants, but except for one thing. Droids. He can't do it on droids. But when Jar Jar was about to do something bending over, R2 bumps into him unsuspiciously because he noticed something. Jar Jar told him not to do anything because Jar Jar was kind of right near the hyperdrive. I know it kind of sounds weird, but R2 kind of stopped him in the way, and Jar Jar says this, how rude. And then R2 goes to fix the generator. After that, all over the fence, they're about to go to Coruscant, and all of a sudden the hyperdrive leaks. Wouldn't that have noticed on the screen before when the shield generator got hit? And it would show the same thing with the hyperdrive. But it didn't. It happened right after the hyperdrive got fixed. How? Because Jar Jar was in the section where the hyperdrive was, and he probably sabotaged it. Because he wanted all this to happen. How? Because he probably sensed that there was a greater force somewhere around him. Meaning Tatooine, Anakin. Because he wanted to find who it was. So now, let's continue on. So after they landed in Tatooine, now, they were referring that who would go with Obi-Wan to investigate the planet and try to get parts to fix the ship to go to Coruscant. Now, when Qui-Gon left, he actually was bringing R2 and Jar Jar. But why would Jar Jar go out on the blazing sun planet knowing that he's actually a freaking water-type creature that swims underwater? But why would he go out with Qui-Gon? Because he was actually going to find, but I guess he was going to find the strong Force user out there, meaning Anakin. But he doesn't know who it was before. This was actually probably all planned out from the very beginning. Now let's continue on. Now, if you guys have noticed in that one scene where that the Naboo guard came out and said, that the Queen wants one of her handmaidens to come on the journey and see what the planet is like, and that handmaiden is actually Padme, aka the real Queen of Naboo, but it was actually a decoy to keep the real Queen undercover from the Czech Federation. Because that one that was sitting on the chair before in the ship, that was the fake Queen. The Padme is the real one. But now, if you guys have noticed before that, then Jar Jar bumped into Padme in the cargo hold when she was cleaning R2. Now, he was kind of waving his hands a little while, talking to her. But why would her talk to Jar Jar? Because Jar Jar was knowing that she was the real person. How would he know? Because he's using the Force. Misa, who you do here? Because he knew who she was. I know it sounds weird, but because he knew. Now, here's some more facts. Like, let's get back to that part where that the Naboo guard was bringing out Padme to take her with Qui-Gon and Jar Jar and R2 on the adventure of Tatooine. Now, if you guys have noticed that Jar Jar was kind of moving his lips just slightly while the guard was talking. Now, you know, like I said, there's a Jedi have the mind trick, but he wasn't moving his hands. He was moving his lips while the guard was talking. Because I know it sounds weird, but I think he was using his power for him to speak to Qui-Gon to bring her along. Yeah. So let's continue on with more evidence. So after that adventure, you see Jar Jar just still acting around clumsy, and then actually, for a while, it goes to Qui-Gon finding a place to get parts, and all of a sudden, the Queen, well, Padme, was saying that this is a bad idea. We shouldn't do this. And then she says a few words to Qui-Gon, saying that we should do this stuff, and we should head back to the ship and figure out the stuff. And then all of a sudden, you see Jar Jar going to sit down, and then he's also moving his lips again, and Padme says, I don't approve of this. While he was moving his lips. I know I'm not that great of a person to do theories like this, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. Now, after he did that, Jar Jar was doing the same thing with Padme, putting words in her mouth, saying it to Qui-Gon. He's doing this on purpose. Now, as we continue on throughout the film, he's not doing it again, but he has been moving around in the shop where Anakin was, acting super suspicious. But later on in the film, we see Qui-Gon, Jar Jar, Anakin, and Anakin's fixing the pod racer. But then we see Jar Jar trying to fix it, and then we see C-3PO and R2 trying to fix on the pod racer. Now, only droids don't know about the Force, but they can see things in people acting in a weird way. But when C-3PO saw Jar Jar acting stupid and weird, C-3PO says this. He's like, that guy is a weird one. He says, I find that Jar Jar person to be very suspicious. But why would C-3PO say that? Because droids kind of knew what what kind of body language, or what's that word I'm looking for? The droids probably kind of knew what kind of body language I would say. I don't know, but he noticed that Jar Jar was suspicious of something because he knew something was weird about him. So let's continue on. So throughout the film, you've noticed that Jar Jar was still being stupid and weird. And then also throughout the movie, you see that later on it gets towards almost the battle of the Naboo, the droids against the Gungans, and all of a sudden he's with the leader of the Gungans, and he's saying no, no. He's saying, Jar Jar, I'm gonna make you Bombad General. It's like General. And when he was talking to the leader, trying to thank him for helping the Jedi in the way, and he was waving his hands, and then all of a sudden, the leader gives him a promotion to being Bombad General. Why would he give him that promotion? Because Jar Jar was waving his hands suspiciously at him, telling him to give him the Force, to give him a promotion. And it worked. Why would we give him a promotion? And after, later on, it was showing him, well, actually no, I kind of missed one part in the beginning of the film. Remember when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were going to ambush the droids to rescue the Queen and the rest of her party? And we see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan jump down from that ledge. But you see Jar Jar jump, but he turns around, grabs onto the ledge, and then there's one droid down below. Looks at Jar Jar, about to shoot, and he shoots, but he turns his head because Jar Jar. Then after when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan start battling, he jumps off on the other side of the ledge, and the droid looks and sees him, gets distracted, and it gets destroyed by Obi-Wan. Now, how would Jar Jar get on the other side? Because he force jumped. I know it sounds weird, but he did. Because he was being unnoticed by the Jedi. But droids can see what was going on. And the droid was like, what the hell? How'd you get there from over there? Because Jar Jar was using the Force. But now let's continue on throughout the entire movie again. But if you guys have noticed that in the battle, before the battle of the Naboo with the droids and the Gungans, Jar Jar was on Coruscant, and he was with the Queen in that room, and he was telling them, the Gungans, we're a great race, we have a grand army, and he was waving his hands again, and he was taunting and telling Padme, the fake Queen, to go back to Naboo. He was using the Force again, but in the suspicious way. I know it sounds weird, but it's not. He was using it again. So all this stuff happening from the first movie was made to do on purpose. But now, I'm just going to continue on throughout the movie, but let's get to the battle of the scene. So if you guys know, throughout the movie, Jar Jar has supremely great luck. Now, how's that even possible? Okay, let's go to episode 4 of Star Wars, where old Ben says there's no such thing as luck. Now, that might have not been true. Jar Jar in episode 1 had supremely great luck throughout the film. He got saved everywhere from getting destroyed and harmed and shot from harm. Because his stupidness and his idioticness helped him and the Force helped him, kind of with luck, saved him from harm. Now, why would that be? Because he knew what was going to happen. So, with all that luck, he knew where the things was going to happen and knew where it was. So, let's talk about that battle scene from the Gungans versus the droids. Now, let's take a... So if you guys have watched that scene where Jar Jar was battling the droids, he was swinging that thing, and then all of a sudden he starts beating up some droids, and then he steps his foot in the wires of a droid with a gun in its hand. Now, let's watch that scene closely, guys. Now, if you guys have noticed that he's trying to get himself off of the wires, off of the droid, and all of a sudden he whacks the droid on the floor, and it shoots at another droid. What the fuck? How did he hit that droid? Then he moves the droid part again, hits him on the floor, hits another droid another weak spot. What the fuck, Jar Jar? And he moves it again, he falls on the ground, hits the droid on the ground again, and the shot fires again, hits the weak point on a freaking droidicud's leg. How the hell did he do that? It was luck. It was the force he was using. But only droids don't know that he's suspicious. Now, I know that's crazy, but throughout that film, he's been focused on him. And after that, it was done with Jar Jar. And it shows up at the very end again, when he's beside Palpatine, while Qui-Gon was being burnt. Now, when Yoda says, there's always a master and an apprentice, and then, well, I'm trying to remember that scene pretty well, but Master Yoda says, there's always a master and apprentice, no more, no less, and then Mace Windu says, but which was the but which one was it, the master, but which was destroyed, the master or the apprentice? And then, because before it did that scene, it shows Jar Jar beside Palpatine. Now, Gungan said, if Jar Jar was a Dark Lord of the Sith, he probably bumped into Palpatine in the past, because Palpatine lives on Naboo. So does Jar Jar. So probably at one point, they both probably bumped into each other, and then all of a sudden, Jar Jar became a Dark Lord. Either became the apprentice, or maybe the master. Maybe before. Yeah. But if you guys remember from Episode 3 from the Revenge of the Sith, if you guys remember that scene where Anakin and Palpatine were in that little in that little showroom place, and Palpatine was telling that Sith legend about Darth Plagueis the Wise, saying that his apprentice killed him in his sleep, but people were saying that was Palpatine killing his master. Now maybe before that, or maybe in episode 1, maybe Plagueis was still alive at that point. And maybe before that, Jar Jar and Palpatine probably found each other, and then maybe Jar Jar was the one that taught Palpatine. Or maybe Palpatine taught Jar Jar. Whichever which. But I don't know all the details because I didn't really research all this. I'm doing it all on top of my head. I'm just saying for all the words out of my mouth. But the facts are there, guys. Come on. Well, you just think about it. It's like, why would Jar Jar do all this shit in episode 1? Because he was doing it on purpose. And it's all his fault. He planned this out for all the film. He made it all happen. So that's it for episode 1. Let's go on to episode 2. Although in episode 2 and 3, he didn't show up a lot in those ones. Because in the first movie, all the cameras faced on him. But in episode 2 and 3, he wasn't. So in episode 2, he had another promotion. He was now the senator. Well, not senator yet, but he was the representative of Naboo. Now, how the hell did he get that freaking promotion? I bet he was probably using that to get a promotion from the Queen. Because he was with the Queen in episode 2. No, he was still doing that with her when the Jedi were coming up. But now, when we take a look at the scene in episode 2 where Jar Jar was walking in the hallway going towards the elevator, because why would he go that way towards the elevator? Because he sensed Obi-Wan and Anakin were coming up the elevator. Because he knew they were coming up. And then after, he acted all his clumsy way again. He's like, oh, Obi-Wan, it's good to see you again. He's all doing it in the act. Yeah, I know. But and after that, he doesn't show him again. Well, he does introduce Obi-Wan and Anakin to Padme. And then after that, it was done for Jar Jar. And then later on, it shows Jar Jar again later on in episode 2, and he was giving a speech to the Senate, because the Senate, everybody in there were complaining because they want half of the power, half of the democracy, and they were all having to fight because they wanted more or less of stuff. And then because Padme was not there because she was going back to Naboo, but she was actually at Naboo with Anakin. But he was there to represent Padme because she couldn't be there to do it herself because she wanted to go into hiding because people were trying to assassinate her. So Jar Jar took her place. And then if you notice, Jar Jar when Jar Jar was given his speech, he was waving his hands, said, "I want to give all the absolute power." And I don't remember the entire lines, but I will give all my absolute power to the Supreme Chancellor. And he was doing it, he was making a big speech, he was moving his hands around in a suspicious way everywhere across the room, persuading everybody to give the Chancellor all the power. He planned it. I know. But after he did that, now in episode 3, well, at the very end of episode 2, you see Jar Jar right behind Palpatine on the ledge when they were looking at all the clones. He meant to do it on purpose. He meant to do it on cue. He did it. And in episode 3, he doesn't really show up in that one, but he does in only one scene. He only shows up in one scene. When Anakin comes back from the space battle and brings back Palpatine, and then all of a sudden we see a lot of people gathering around, and then all of a sudden we see Jar Jar sneak up and goes right behind Palpatine. He's always around Palpatine. You know why? Because those two have been together for many years. Because Jar Jar is a Dark Lord. Now, one thing before I go for my video today, if you guys want me to talk more about Jar Jar next time, I will. But for another thing, a lot of people, I'm just going to show a big list of things on the screen right now. So here, of people doing a lot of theory videos on Jar Jar being Darth Plagueis or freaking Snoke in The Force Awakens. So look at that list. Did you guys see that list? So, if you guys saw that list, I know there's a lot of theories about Jar Jar being Snoke in The Force Awakens, but is that true though? But with Gongan in that video I watched earlier, he says that Snook in Dutch means pike, a fish. But now, why would that be a specific way? Would that be Jar Jar? Maybe he lost his ears? Maybe he lost his long neck? But how would it explain Snook having that scar on his face? Did at some point Jar Jar get a scar while he was indisposed and not being off camera? Well, I found out the lifespan about Gungans, and Gungans can only live up to 65 years in galactic time. But with Master Yoda and what was it? Return of the Jedi? He lived up for 900 years because the Force was helping him age slowly. Now, with people that are Force users live longer than other people. So that would explain Jar Jar would have survived for many years longer. Because with Force users, they live longer. Because with old Ben, probably Obi-Wan probably did the same thing. Because I know he looked very old, but how old was he really in Episode 4? We won't know. So, Gongan says Jar Jar would have been 86 years old right now in The Force Awakens, if that's true. But if it is true, if the theory is true about Jar Jar, and if Jar Jar is in Force Awakens, and if he is Snoke, I'm going to be fucking shitting my pants. But there's one other thing I want to mention before I end my video. Gongan also showed a little behind-the-scenes feature of The Force Awakens of J.J. Abrams behind the scenes. It shows like sculptures of Jar Jar, of a Gungan face, and things, and sketches and art sketches of Snoke, of being a pike kind of fish. But that was not the finished design yet. That would have been a little hint. But is that true though? Is Snoke Jar Jar Binks? Jar Jar Binks could have changed his name completely because over the years he probably didn't want to be called Jar Jar anymore. So after he maybe after he aged and it looked different, maybe at one point he got his face cut, he probably changed his name, probably went to a different planet, looked very old, looked all freaking deformed. I know although his neck didn't look very long, it was short, but maybe the Force was changing him a bit. So maybe Snoke is actually Jar Jar Binks, but he changed his name. But guys, that's just a theory. A Star Wars theory on Jar Jar Binks. No, like I said, I didn't do research on Jar Jar Binks today. I just want to say it straight from my lips and my heart. But anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video about me talking about Jar Jar Binks. Because if you guys want me to talk about more about Jar Jar next time, I will research this time on Jar Jar Binks. And I'll probably find that book name about that Xanath place. And I'll let you guys know on that. But if you guys really enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and please comment and let me guys know about your opinions and things about this theory. I know I might be wrong on some parts, but I wanted to nail this theory down today. Thank God, I knew it's been 48 something minutes for this video, but I can have longer videos on this channel. But for further ado guys, I want to thank you guys for watching this theory video for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. But now, I'm actually going to watch some bonus features of Force Awakens, because I want to watch the rest and see what they did for that film. So, if you guys like this theory video about me talking about Jar Jar Binks, or maybe Snoke perhaps, maybe it's just a theory, a Star Wars theory. I don't know if it's true or not, it's just a theory. I have not confirmed it yet. I have to wait until Episode 8 of Star Wars. So, let's wait by then. So, that's it for this video today, you guys. So I want to thank you guys for watching. So please comment, subscribe, or rate, and I'll see you guys next time, next week on Friday. And I just want to, and please share this video. I would love the support. I would love to get more fans, more subscribers on my channel. So please do share this video with me, guys. Come on, just do it. Come on, just do it. Come on, just do it. Jar Binks. Share this video, alright? I don't even sound Jar Jar Binks. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. So please comment, subscribe, rate, and I'll see you guys next time on the Kyle Binks Show.